You're talking about a fourth-round pick, somebody that was taken 133rd, I believe, overall, and has really paid his dues. And he's played in the spotlight down there now. He's only played in 3 playoff games. But, this is what the money is for quarterbacks of this caliber. And there's no question that he was off to a great start last year, broke his ankle. They obviously think that he's going to be healthy as the season gets ready to start. Think about some of these numbers, okay? He got $66 million in signing bonus. That is the biggest bonus ever in the history of the NFL. He's got a $9 million salary this year, so that makes it $75 million guaranteed for him in 2021. Now, you compare that to Patrick Mahomes, who also signed a new deal last year, and a lot of it's going to kick in this year. This year, Dak Prescott will make, it looks to me, as I'm trying to figure all of this stuff out, after taxes and all this other stuff, he's going to make $46.6 million because he plays in Texas. So he'll pay his federal taxes. He'll pay his payroll tax in the state of Texas. For Mahomes, who I'm assuming is living in Missouri, okay? And I'm not sure if he lives within the Kansas City circle. I'm not sure. But Mahomes is going to make $75.8 million. So think about it, 75.6 versus 75.8. Mahomes is making more money on the gross end of things, but because of the taxes, when you factor all that stuff in, it's a big deal. And the reason I always say this is not that, of course, I can't stand, the tax numbers and stuff of that nature, but it's more than that. It's really about teams in certain states that do really have an advantage over other teams. And there is no question when you start looking at this salary and this bonus and this package of $160 million over the next 4 years, you realize just how much of an advantage Dallas does have. So, it's $160 million over the next 4 years. Most likely, if he plays like he played at the beginning of last year, he'll be back at the bargaining table after 3 years. And this is why I keep telling everybody, you keep hearing about Russell Wilson wanting to leave and Russell Wilson getting traded.
Oh, big trade rumors. Russell Wilson to the Bears heating up.
But as I told you coming out of the Super Bowl, to me, it's more about his contract than anything else. He has an out in his contract for 2022. And anybody who trades for Russell Wilson is going to have to do what?
Give him a new contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are thinking, it's about the offense coordinator. It's about his relationship with his head coach. It's not that. But if you also take Dak Prescott's next level of his contract, he'll have $20 million guaranteed salary in 2022, which would give him $95 million guaranteed. And then he makes $31 million in 2023, which essentially tells you that he has $126 million guaranteed over the next 3 years, and then he'll be back at the bargaining table again going into the last year of his contract. At least that's what it usually happens in the NFL. So he's got $42 million coming his way over the next 3 years. And I'm telling you, from where I sit and all the numbers that I've seen and everything else that's gone on out there, this is the one guy that should have had this contract last year, but in retrospect now, thinking what he just got and how how it compares to everybody else, he's earned every dollar of it because of where he was drafted.
It's sort of funny because this is the first time that I've ever looked at a contract and said that man deserved it, but also thought, I don't think that he's that good. Does that make sense to you?
This is like the rub for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, this is I don't think I've ever looked at a contract, felt good for a guy, say that he deserved it, but then also said, I don't know if he's that good. Now, the reason why that is because this is the price of doing business at that position. It's the Dallas Cowboys. He has done everything right on and off the field. He is the face of the franchise. He's just a great guy. You just want to get to know him. He's one of those guys. Plus, he went through this horrific injury when he didn't have a contract, so you didn't know what the Cowboys were going to do. And he ends up getting this money and a bunch of guaranteed money, and you feel good for him. But really, when you think about it and digest it, and you think about the future of the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, and you look around the league at the best quarterbacks in football, is he part of that conversation? Now, I do think that the way that the Cowboys season went after his injury definitely bolstered that opinion of the people who thought that Dak Prescott could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and the best option for the Cowboys because the team was a mess for most of the year after he got hurt and the offense was never the same. But it's just I've never felt that way about a contract.
Well, this contract is huge, and it's going to have reverberations all across the NFL. Over the next 4 years, like I told you, $160 million. He'll make almost $29 million. Well, he'll make a little bit over $29 million more than Mahomes will make over the next 4 years. And then Mahomes has 7 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. And think about, remember how we were celebrating Patrick's deal, and it was a huge deal, and who cares? It's a lot of money one way or the other. But when you compare what Dak has just done here and how he'll be back at the contract table in 3 years, it's nothing short of a miracle. I mean, the money, and by that time, instead of the salary cap going down or staying flat like it is this year, you would like to think that the salary cap's going to be going up. And that position's only going to get that much more expensive. How about this? Dak will make more in his first 4 years, okay, than Russell Wilson by $29 million, Aaron Rodgers by $35.5 million, Matt Ryan by $42.5 million. He'll make $49.2 million more than Deshaun in his first 2 years, Jared Goff by $49.9 million, and Carson Wentz by $56 million.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of guaranteed money.
This is a massive, massive contract. I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm just wow.
And good for him, and it's great, especially coming off the injury. And I don't feel like the Cowboys have that much risk tied into it because it's a 4-year deal.
Yeah, but see, this is what he wanted.
Yeah, I know.
He wanted a 4-year deal last year. They wanted to give him a 5-year deal. So essentially what they did is they franchised him last year and then gave him the 4-year deal this year. So essentially it is a 5-year deal. But when you look at the numbers stand alone and the fact that he's living in Texas, you realize that in the first 3 years, he's going to make $126 million compared to Mahomes, who's going to make $141 million. But the difference is $15.4 million in taxes that Mahomes is going to pay. And the reason
it's a lot of money.
And the reason I point that out is just simply because of the advantage that a team in Florida will have.
Well, Texas maybe for someone like Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, think about it. If it comes down to the Jets and Dolphins for Deshaun Watson,
he'd rather go to the Dolphins for that reason.
He may. We don't know, but it's definitely a conversation piece. Now, when you think about someone who gets paid as much as Dak Prescott gets paid at that position, we have these conversations about, if you're in a certain division, you got to deal with this quarterback. When you've talked about a guy getting drafted in a certain place or a head coach making a decision on what team he's going to coach when he's one of the hot coordinator names, and you're like, well, but that guy's going to have to deal with Patrick Mahomes. That guy's going to have to deal with Josh Allen.
Right.
But with Dak Prescott, have we ever said that? Like, when we talk about the New York Giants and trying to win a division, get back into the postseason, do we ever say, and now the New York Giants for the next 4 years at least have to be in the same division as Dak Prescott? We never say that. But yet he's getting paid like the guys that we talk about in that way. But we don't say it about him.
All I can tell you, he's 19-6 in 25 games versus the NFC East.
I know.
Just so you understand, he's 19-6.
But do you understand where I'm coming from in the sense that we never talk about him in those same breaths? Never. Ever. It's never come up. The conversations we have about Dak Prescott are, should the Cowboys give him money? Why didn't they give him money? What is he asking for? Is he the right guy? I mean, I remember many, many times either me or you would ask Jerry, do you want to keep Dak Prescott here? And it's like, well, what are you going to have to pay him? At what number? I mean, those are the conversations, not like get the deal done, the guy's got to be here, and boy, the Giants have to deal with that guy.
Well, you know what his record is against the Giants in 9 games? It's 7-2.
Yeah, fine. But the Giants have been very, very bad. But do you still feel like Dak Prescott, do you feel like the money that Dak Prescott is getting paid puts him in that category with these guys that we talk about, like Patrick Mahomes and these other guys?
Okay, I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes, but I do know that his winning record in his division and their stability at offense when he is playing is significant. And for the Giants, right now, who are you playing against down in Philadelphia? Jalen
My
Hurts?
team's going to be bad.
Right? And what's going on in Washington?
You don't know.
Quarterback position.
You don't know.
So, if you're sitting here with Daniel Jones, you're hoping that Daniel Jones turns into one of these kids and that can become one of these difference makers like Dak Prescott has become. But all I know is that if I were Dak Prescott's agent, I would walk in there and say, look at my record against the NFC East.
Oh, sure.
I mean, he owns the NFC East. So, I know what you're saying when you're saying that, okay, I'm glad that he got the money, but I'm not so sure he deserves it. I totally understand what you're saying there. From where I sit and the position I used to play and the money that I used to make, when I see this and I see a guy like him come out of Mississippi State in the 4th round and basically take over because Tony Romo gets injured and never gives the job back.
Oh, I love all that
right.
part of it.
So I have to tell you that the part of this contract is they're paying him for something that he's already done because they hadn't paid him early on when he first got there.
I understand. Yeah, but he's getting paid now basically like the second best quarterback in the game.
But he'll be leapfrogged. Eventually, he'll be that. What he did is the right thing here.
Right,
he set the bar for the next group of guys, whoever they may be. Because I think Aaron Rodgers looks like he's going to get a new contract, and I know Russell Wilson wants a new contract.
Yeah. Here's a good way to put it. You know, when Patrick Mahomes got his money, now I know that I keep going back to him, but he's really the one example where nobody can argue. When he got his money, there wasn't a bit of criticism the Kansas City Chiefs way about paying him. Is Dak Prescott more towards that end of the spectrum? Or is is he more towards the Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo end of the spectrum, where those guys get a whole bunch of money and people go, what? Why did they get paid?
He's better than both those guys. And those guys got paid. You know, Jared took his team to the Super Bowl. And, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo got traded, and they had to sign him to a big contract out in San Francisco because where his contract was, and he was anointed their starter, so they wanted to pay him starter money at that time. So this is a different story. This guy has fought through it. This guy has gone through a franchise tag. He bet on himself last year. You know, I don't know what the numbers would have been had he not got hurt. I mean, I'm assuming
probably right around the same, honestly.
Maybe even more, depending on where he would have taken the Dallas Cowboys. You have to remember
that's right. It's bad division, the whole thing.
He could have taken them again to the playoffs, and you know who knows what they could have done in the playoffs. So all I know is that he did the right thing by betting on himself because these numbers prove it, and he also did the right thing by other players in the league. You know, he may have hurt his own team a little bit because of the amount of money that he's taking. But you know what? For a guy that really had one bite at the apple because of the franchise tags and things of that nature, this is great for him. This is absolutely great for him. I didn't like. Sometimes I'll see a contract and I'll go, God dang it, man! I can't believe that I'm 60 years old and I missed all this.
Yeah, like the Garoppolo and Goff contract.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But this is a different story. This guy,
I'm happy for him.
Totally earned every aspect of it.
Yeah, no, you can't argue it. It's just that you wonder where the team goes with him. You still do. And that is a question. Now, as far as next year and quarterbacks for next year, let's just talk about that for a second. Do you believe that he's in the top 5? If you're doing
I think his numbers will be in the top 5, yes. I think his statistical numbers will be in the top 5.
All right,
yes.
So what about this, though? Let me phrase it this way, then. If we're doing a quarterback draft for next year, the starting quarterbacks, is he picked as one of the top 5 guys?
So Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers.
Tom Brady just won a Super Bowl again. I'm talking for next year.
I know. And just for 1 year only, this is like a stupid sports talk.
No, but it's just.
Argument.
But my point is, he's starting next year. He's going to be healthy again. He's getting paid as the second highest paid quarterback in football.
I think he'll be a top 5 quarterback rating wise. Yes.
Okay.
And I think his team will have a winning record as long as he stays healthy.
Right.
If he stays healthy, you know, I don't know what their over under is at this moment.
Over under.
I would think it'd probably be somewhere around 9 games.
They have not come out yet. It's way, way too early for that. There might be some early line out there, some early Fakata line.
You got
to
see some free agency. You got to see some draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little early.
I don't know if he's healthy. Last year, they definitely win the division. And you know, it's unfortunate that he got hurt. It really is. And I think this contract is basically telling you that they believe in him. Obviously.
Yeah, or the alternatives.
There are no alternatives.
Right. Well, that's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get to.
This is why that you know who's actually in quarterback hell right now?
Who's in quarterback hell right now?
The Patriots.
Yeah.
The Patriots and the Chicago Bears are in quarterback. What are we doing with our quarterbacks?
Yeah, apparently.
They are 100% in quarterback hell, something that a lot of teams, including the Jets, have been in for a long, long time.
Yeah, what are the Jets in right now?
Well, I think they're in a holding pattern to try to figure out. Like I told you, there's 4 different scenarios.
No, I know, but would you consider that quarterback hell? I mean, I got 4 different scenarios.
No, I would say I have the second pick overall, so that means I could take Zach Wilson. I could keep Sam Darnold and try to get the most out of him in this offense that other quarterbacks have had a lot of success in, kind of like him, like a Jared Goff, like a Jimmy Garoppolo. Those guys have had success. It's probably not the success that you or anybody else would want to see overall when you kind of stack those guys up against the top 5 guys in the league. But if you told me that the Jets were going to be keeping Sam Darnold in this new offense, I would love to see it. I really would love to see it. If you're going to tell me that they're going to draft Zach Wilson and put him in this offense, I'd love to see that too. In other words, they have options.
Quarterback purgatory.
But there are teams to me, like the Patriots, what are their options?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but that means they have to make a trade to get him.
Yeah, I know, but apparently that's what they want to do.
But the Jets don't have to do that right now. The Jets could trade Sam Darnold eventually and draft Zach Wilson and move on from there and start again.
Yeah, they're in the quarterback purgatory waiting room to see
but I think they're in a
what
good
end
position.
calls. Is it heaven or hell who's calling?
But there are teams that are stuck, like Chicago. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to trade for Russell Wilson.
They could.
Are they going to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Oh.
What are these teams going to end up doing? Like you say, woo. Oof. That's what I mean. There are teams that are completely right now, like, huh?
No, I agree. There's teams that are in quarterback hell. I do, but I stand by the fact that the Jets are in quarterback purgatory.
I'd much rather be in their situation than Chicago, the Patriots. I mean, you have options if you are the Jets, and you have options because finally, there is stability at the top of the Jet organization from a football perspective. 100% stability, which hasn't been seen since I think Tannenbaum and Rex Ryan were running the show.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.